Hey team, Rory here. Wanted to talk about maximum aerobic power today. So I've just finished my maximum aerobic power intervals. Now, maximum aerobic power, as the name suggests, it's the maximum amount of power that you can produce in a aerobic state. And that's very important because the aerobic energy system, is the only energy system capable of producing lasting energy or sustained energy. So it's really important that we increase or develop the amount of power that we can produce in this aerobic state, because that is going to allow us to perform at high levels for long periods of time, keep coming back again and again and again. So when we perform our aerobic intervals, it's very important first of all that the pace is sustainable. If you're performing interval after interval or your aerobic session and your pace or your intensity is dropping off as the session goes on, that means that you're going too hard to truly develop the aerobic state. We want that energy to be as high as possible but sustained for the full length of that session. Now when we look at aerobic sessions, particularly when we're looking at intervals, we tend to notice that they have a 1-to-1 or 1-to-2 work to rest period. So for example, you might work for a minute and then rest for a minute and repeat that for multiple times, or work for a minute and rest for 2 minutes, repeat that multiple times. Sometimes they can have shorter rest to work intervals, so 1 minute work to 30 seconds rest, but they're generally around that 1-to-1 ratio. With our aerobic sessions, ideally, we want them to last at least 20 minutes or preferably closer to 30 to 40 plus minutes, because that's going to provide that long length of time for us to truly develop that aerobic system. And it's also, we perform the way we train. If we want to be able to perform for long periods of time, particularly if we compete in an athletic endeavor, then we want to be able to sustain that high output for long periods of time. If we're just doing 10 to 20 minutes of intervals or even less, while these can serve a really valuable component of your training from time to time to really drive up the intensity quite high in those shorter aerobic sessions, generally we want to be performing them for, as I said, 20 minutes or ideally 30 to 40 plus minutes. So to look at the maximum aerobic power session that I did today, it was 3 minutes work followed by 2 minutes of rest, repeating that 3 to 4 times. After the 3 to 4 rounds, a full 5 minute rest, and then I repeated that whole sequence again. 3 minutes on, 2 minutes off, then 3 to 4 rounds of that. My pace was sustained across the whole number of intervals. If you find you've got a little bit left in the tank, you can increase the intensity or the power for the final interval or two, but you definitely shouldn't be dropping off in those intervals. If anything, you should be increasing, but ideally holding that pace just as high as you can for the full amount of intervals. Definitely something to get into these maximum aerobic power intervals if you're looking to optimize your athletic and overall performance. As I said, we really want to be able to produce the most power that we can in this aerobic state for improved and relentless performance for longer periods of time. If you haven't already, team, hit the subscribe button down the bottom. I put out regular videos on how to improve your athletic and overall performance. Coach Rory, signing out.